So you know when you grab a new volume 1 off the shelf and you go, oh please God, let this one be good? Well, today I'm just taking one for the team, I guess. Hello all my otaku friends, my name is Profitaku and welcome back to my channel for this Should You Read Sunday. We are not going over one series, we're not going over two series, we're not going over three series, we are going over 4 different volume 1s today. We have 3 duds and 1 stud. Which one is it? Let's find out. So let's take a look at the 4 different volume 1s that we're going to be discussing today. The Iden Deities, No Only Peace, Crazy Food Truck, Yoshihime Princess Half Demon, and the Elusive Samurai. So I challenge you down in the comments below, let me know which one do you think is the stud, the diamond in the pile of garbage that we're about to deal with today. And I can't forget to acknowledge the sponsor of this Should You Read Sunday, Right Stuf Anime. Right Stuf is one of the top retailers in North America to buy your anime, manga, and otaku related merchandise at a discounted price, fantastic customer service, and even better packaging. And right now they have their summer sale where many of your favorite things are discounted between 35 and 45% off. So again, thanks to Devin and the Right Stuf team for supporting the channel and sponsoring part of this Should You Read Sunday. Check out my affiliate link down below. It really helps support the channel. So here we go with our first manga, and of course we've got 3 duds, so well, let's start with the dud, shall we? The Elusive Samurai Volume 1. This is by the same creator as Assassination Classroom. I was devastated to read this Volume 1 because I love Assassination Classroom. I think it's one of the most well-rounded stories, a perfect balance of action and sentimental emotions. But this fell flat on so many levels and we just got to talk about it. So for those of you who want a quick synopsis, we have our 8-year-old boy right here. His name is Hojo. He's really good at tag and hide and seek and basically running away from battles. So he is part of the royal family who in turn controls the Imperial Army. With this Imperial Army, you have this really young general who's just like the superstar, the stud of the town. Well, of course, all hell breaks loose. There's a coup d'etat and this young general takes over the government, runs this guy out of town, but you know, he dodges everything because he's the elusive samurai. He gets away. So this manga is basically a redemption story of Hojo trying to reclaim the kingdom after everything is taken away from him. So you know what? The artwork is really nice. The action scenes are drawn really well. But you know what this manga suffers from? It's just boring. For me personally, when I'm reading a battle shonen, I need to feel like the battle can contribute to the story in some sort of impactful way. And I don't think that there should be a throwaway battle at any sort of point in a battle shonen. So not only do we get a throwaway battle, but it's like literally the very first battle. And it just had nothing to do with the story. And it was just so shallow and it really irritated me. Along with this, that first chapter is all about setting up the story. And let me tell you, they just went way too far with it. They were info dumping just way too much. It was just huge blocks of text, super boring. The names were really hard to follow. And then even after all that information dump, you know what the worst part about this volume 1 was that every single chapter they kept recapping the same information. Oh, the poor boy lost everything and now he ran away. Oh, and he can go really fast. He's the elusive samurai. It was just so repetitive and I just couldn't stand it. So I just had to drop it. I'm not even gonna bother reading the second volume because I just got nothing out of this. And usually I try to give Shonen Jump manga like 2-3 volumes. Nah, not this one. Forget it. Okay, next up is the Crazy Food Truck. Big Viz signature. Everybody's been talking about it. It's a 3-volume series. Is this one any good? In my personal opinion, no, I really don't think it is. Quick synopsis. You have a guy in a post-apocalyptic world. He runs a food truck. He has no customers. He's just driving around, killing all these weird animals in this post-apocalyptic territory. One day, he finds this girl. She just jumps into his car, and then there's a bad, evil organization chasing her. So it's them running away from the bad guys. And when I say that's literally all we get in this first volume, that's literally all we get. Now, why am I saying that this is a problem with this manga? And here's why. It's a 3-volume series. So that first volume is all about setting up the world. And they did set up the world. And honestly, I'm not that interested in the world. I don't think it was that interesting or dynamic or creative. Knowing that there's only 2 more volumes left and we know nothing about the bad guy team, who this girl is, why are they chasing her, that second volume is going to be us finding out about this bad guy team, and then the third volume is going to be the final battle, and then the manga's over. So you see where I'm going with this, right? We have a 3-volume series. I just told you what I think the structure is going to be. This doesn't give the reader enough time to immerse themselves in the environment and really just create that connection. At least they kind of blew it in that first volume. So this is just going to be one of those 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 manga. You're probably going to read it and you're probably going to dump it. Next up is the Iden Deities No Only Piece. This is the only release here in this set of 4 by 7 Seas. And if you recognize the artwork here, that's because the artist for this manga is the creator of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So quick synopsis here. We have these gods who destroy these demons about 800 years ago. And these gods are called the Iden Deities. And with the destruction of the demons, the earth and the human population knew peace for over 8 centuries. So then we get placed into the present day. We have our 3 new Iden Deities, and they've only known peace throughout the centuries. There's no demons to kill, the human population is relatively stable, everything is fine. But things start to stir in the human population, and we see a resurgence of evil, and our Iden Deities, who've now only known peace, are thrust back into action to save the day. Now look, you're probably hearing that synopsis and going, wow, that sounds really cookie cutter, that sounds really boring. But look, this is the stud, believe it or not. This is actually the stud out of the 4. Now, why do I say that? And it's a combination of a couple things. It's the pacing of the information and the balance between that and the action, as well as this manga basically being like an onion. Now, what I mean by that is that there are many different layers that get added on every chapter, but they do it in a way that makes you just want to keep reading it, but you also learn a little bit more about the world at the same time. And so that's what I'm talking about with the pacing of the information dump with the action. So we've got many different groups going on. We've got the bad guy group here who's trying to resurge the dead demons to try to take over the world. We don't know really anything about them yet, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Along with that, we have all the different Iden Deities. We have the really cute girl who's got the powers of a bird. We have the super strong jock who's kind of a space cadet. And then we have the smart guy right here who's got kind of a really mysterious side to him. And then we have their overlord, their watcher, this girl right here, who is the only deity left from the first battle 8 centuries ago. All of these characters are an essential piece of the puzzle when put together, create a really interesting and dynamic story, which was a lot of fun to read. The only thing I will say, and I have to say this because it kind of just shocked me, this is rated older teen, 17 plus, and I didn't understand it because it was super cute. There was nothing in here that made me think that this was going to be R18 or whatever. And there's some gore and stuff like that in here, but at the very last chapter of this volume, they depict something, and it's in the lines of sexual assault, but they show basically everything. And so it's really like, whoa. I don't think they even needed to put it in here, but it is in here. So I give you that warning now. Just know that that's why this is rated 17 plus. It's because there's a thing in here and it's really kind of graphic. But please don't let that deter you from picking up this manga. This is a really, really fun shonen, and I see a lot of potential for this moving forward. And the last volume here for this 4-volume sprint is Yoshihime, Princess Half Demon. I wouldn't necessarily call this a dud, but this is more of a I don't know. If the artwork looks familiar, that's because this is a sequel to Inuyasha. Now, Rumiko Takahashi does not write this manga. It's a different mangaka who does the art and the story, but Rumiko Takahashi has influence on this. And also, this is a manga adaptation of the anime, because the anime is actually an original. So a very quick synopsis here. You have Inuyasha and his partner. They get taken away somewhere. They just disappear. And it's up to the 3 children. You've got the aunt's children, and then you've got Inuyasha's children, who are setting off on this journey to find their parents again. Now, why do I hesitate to recommend this manga? That's because there's spoilers for Inuyasha in here. Basically, this whole first chapter is kind of setting the framework up for the characters, so you just kind of have to know what happens in Inuyasha to understand what's going to happen in here. Now, Inuyasha is just a shonen, so think about how shonens normally end, and that's probably how it turns out. So I wasn't disappointed to read this, like in terms of the spoilery thing, because I haven't read Inuyasha yet and I want to, but just know that the spoiler is there. So if you don't want any spoilers for Inuyasha, don't even pick this up. But what I will say is that the action scenes are drawn really well. It was really easy to follow. I like the magic system. I think it's really, really interesting. Now, some of the progression of powers were just unexplained, which I think is a big problem, but we'll see how they handle that in the future. But just like Elusive Samurai, this has the same exact problem of information dump and recap repetition. They keep telling us all these things about the Inuyasha family and the connections and the family tree. And honestly, it just like half the volume was that. And it just needed to get me into the action sooner, because honestly, as somebody who didn't read Inuyasha, I didn't really care. I just wanted to get started with this new fantasy story. And of course, compounding that with the repetition with every chapter, reminding us this, honestly, it just got a little bit dull. So I will give this probably another 2-3 volumes to see the direction that this takes, because I do think there's lots of potential here with a really interesting fantasy story. Rumiko Takahashi inspired, and she writes phenomenal stuff, but definitely the spoiler thing is making me really hesitant to even recommend this at all. So that is it for this volume 1 sprint for this Should You Read Sunday. I hope this kind of helped perk your ears up, give you some red flags, give you some green flags maybe on some great manga to check out, or some ones that you may want to avoid so you don't waste your money like I did. As always, if you enjoy my videos, please hit that like button, tap that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.